Hello, my lovely Leos. This is your reading for the week of May 26th, or whenever you see this and it resonates. So, Leos, what I started hearing before I was even deciding what sign to work with next, I heard the mighty Leo. And immediately what I saw was not a roaring lion, but what I saw was a mother lion lying in the grass with her babies frolicking around her. And there was such quiet strength and poise in that lion, alert, aware, able to jump up in a minute to protect these cubs, and yet at the same time being able to be completely relaxed, reclined. And this is the sense of the mighty power that I'm getting with you, Leo, is that some of you have really developed the ability to be solid in yourself within the midst of whatever chaos is going around you. And you may not always stay centered in it. You may have to keep returning to it. But it feels to me as though a lot of the challenges that you've experienced, I'll say lately, but I think in life, I think it's coming to almost like a crescendo in your life, where now what you're being able to do is you're being able to find that quiet strength inside of you that doesn't have to have everybody operating on your value system in order for you to feel safe and okay. Because sometimes in the past, when somebody has done something that you perceived as not to the standard that you believed was appropriate, you were able to kind of perceive it almost as a personal insult, which of course is very human. And it doesn't really necessarily help if there is such a defense with that you're not able to see beyond it to understand what the other person was, to be able to understand that what was virtuous or right for them in that moment was just as important and just as valid in them making the decision as your feelings were or your values were. And so the upshot of that is sometimes Leos can really hang on to things. And I don't know if that's because egos, you do have very, very strong ego structures. And sometimes if that gets bumped and bruised where you feel you've been disrespected in some way, it can cause the hurt to hang on, or it can cause you to hang on to the situation. And you might just lock it away, which really doesn't do you any good, because not long term, because then that just sits in your body. So what you're being asked to do, my very dear friends, is this. If you're finding yourself in a situation right now where you are currently dealing with a conflict of values with someone, you're being asked to take that stance of the lion, the lioness, that strong, and I'll say maternal not because it means you need to be maternal to somebody else. It's the quiet of maternal strength that for me, when I imagine it, it's goddess-like, it's primitive, it's linked to a power source that is way beyond ego. And I like the fact that it's being shown within the context, obviously, of a lion that's appropriate for you, but also within the sense of a mother lion, because to me, there's that quality of the female strength, not feminine, but the female strength that allows for that quiet watching and presence, knowing that things can be done if they need to be done, but that it allows for that sense of stability and anchoring into self, as opposed to the male energy, the yang energy, which is about going out and doing something. They're both extremely powerful. They're both extremely effective. They're just more effective in different situations, one to the other. So what I'm seeing you in this is the ability to really anchor into yourself, that sense of that earthy, goddess-like presence of being able to sit with and understand and look at what are some of the possible cognitive distortions that you've had around what's virtuous and what's not virtuous, what's good, acceptable, whatever, and some of the reasons why, and whether or not that is involved sometimes you throwing the baby out with the bathwater, or feeling like you want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, because sometimes it's just too difficult to talk about, or you don't want to look deeper in case there is more conflict coming up and possibly something that might reveal you in a light that's not great. Sometimes that can happen to all of us, not just Leos. But what you're being told here is, whatever the situation is, to kind of calm down, take on that stance of the lioness. Do only one thing at a time. In this card, in relating it to this reading, it's don't go rushing about in a frenzy, trying to get things done, trying to make something happen. Be prayerful. What does prayerful mean? Well, it can mean different things to different people depending upon your beliefs. But I will read you the card, and you can see how you want to interpret it for you. This can mean actively praying or invoking the support of a divine presence. Alternatively, it can mean letting your mind and actions reflect an attitude of acceptance of, or at least the possibility of, a higher power, which is there to guide you. It could be maintaining an awareness of something sacred or mystical, and acting with the acceptance that it is present even in the most seemingly mundane activities. You choose. It could be all of them. You also get intuition, which is very much about thinking of the world around you as energy, people, places, things, all of it being in conversation with you from a deeper level, from a higher consciousness perspective, and that you can reach out and you can allow that to happen. And it's really powerful for you to create a structure around that. To have, I would say, one of the cards that comes up is structured free flow. And for me, what that means is setting the intention that if what you really know is staying in any of those states of prayerfulness that were described on that card, and I'll hold it up just in case you want to take a screenshot, is that you set yourself points during the day around certain times or certain activities when you remind yourself of it. And you put yourself in that energy, you put yourself in that state of mind and remind yourself of it. Okay? You're also being told, and the same cards, I tell you, the reason I'm saying I'm dumbfounded by this is because I pulled a set of cards and I realized that I had gotten distracted at one point. So I put them back in. You're getting almost exactly the same cards again. And I shuffled the the packs like crazy. You're getting again a sense of the card of betrayal. Now, betrayal doesn't have to mean somebody has set out to actively hurt you. Betrayal can be experienced in so many different ways. It can range from behaviors which make us feel that someone's been unreliable, through to disloyal, and all the way to being malicious. And I would like to add in that too, unthoughtful. Just basically insensitive. That can sometimes feel like betrayal too, especially if it follows through with an activity or lack of activity. So the betrayal concept is coming up here, which says to me there may be something here that has brought up some of this issue for you. And what it may be also drawing you to is the understanding that certain structures in your life might be ready to change. What's a structure? A structure is any kind of support that we create around us, whether it's a pattern in our daily life, whether it's how we live our relationships and the way we configure our friends and family. It basically is how we have decided we're going to live our life, our daily life. And that can incorporate work, play, spirituality, all of them, none of them. But generally speaking, it's the way that we have structured our habits and our behaviors. And through that structure, or with that structure, we move through life. Now, sometimes what will happen, when stuff comes up, when somebody betrays, when whether they betray or don't betray, whether you perceive it as that, whether you find yourself facing problems around whether or not somebody is honoring your value system, or whether or not you are, it's usually a sign that you're ready for growth, that there is something here that is not in alignment with your well-being. And whether or not it's an attitude that you have, whether or not it's a structure that you've helped create in your life, because whoever is the dominant one, certainly in family structures or relationship structures, both people are responsible for creating it, right? So whatever it is, if it's become to the point where what was supportive and a good structure for you is now either feeling like it's claustrophobic or that it's about to crumble, it's worth it to you to look at it and say, what's going on here? Where am I living pleasure in this, and where am I not living pleasure in this? And also when I look at pleasure, do I think it's virtuous to carry pleasure in my life? Do I think it's virtuous for me? Do I think it's all right, okay, for me to live and work in a way where I am experiencing pleasure? And do I trust and believe that if I let myself experience pleasure, that I'm going to be as productive, as valuable? Or do I feel like I need to struggle in order, or be noble in order to have a good life or have good karma? Okay, so you've got a bunch of different things going on here, depending upon which angle this strikes you from. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, hold on. Excuse me. What you're being asked to look at is, bottom line, excuse me, where has there been a conflict in values or beliefs about what's appropriate and not? How has that affected your structure? Focus on, do you want the problem or do you want the solution? Because by focusing on the problem or by burying the problem, you can carry it in your body and carry that energy with you. If something is coming up now, it might be because it's the time to let it go and let whatever has preceded it go. Okay? You're being told prayerfully is the way to go. Allow yourself to be in touch with the intuition. Create a good structure for yourself through which you can maintain the energy of prayerfulness and intuition. And look at where you are. When I think of problem and solution, I also think of pleasure versus struggle. Slow down. Realize that you have that beautiful, sacred strength of the female energy, which can be receptive, can be watching, can be intuitive, know when it's necessary to act. And to please remember that as you slow down and as you look at these things, check out where you allow yourself pleasure in your life. Is that one of the aspects of virtue? It could be, for example, as I'm just hearing this now, where you feel as though somebody needs to be more playful, have more pleasure with you in their life, and all they want to do is work. That might be what the conflict of the value is. Maybe you're dealing with a workaholic, and what you really want is a companion. So maybe that is the value, or it could be flipped the other way around. Either way, what this feels like to me, Leo, is that you're really learning how to tap into that power of the sacred feminine, the sacred female, the goddess energy, the receptive, the watching, the waiting, the one who can sit quietly and respond when necessary, as opposed to having to constantly be out ahead with that aggressive, fiery energy in order to feel safe. And there's that beautiful card that just fell out, that sacredness, that sacred power, it's love. And the thing about love is it knows how to respond. It's something that radiates from us like light from a bonfire or dreams from a dreamer. That's a quote from Deepak Chopra in one of his early books. Rather than something we parcel out to some and not to others. Okay? So you're being told, basically, when you start looking at prayerful intuition, you're talking about love. When you're talking about virtues and deciding what's morally right and slowing down to be able to see what's going on and know what's appropriate, love, that radiating love, is the thing that is going to solidify you in that energy and give you the understanding and the intuition to move beyond any cognitive distortions, to move you away from the problem and into the solution. Okay? That's it, Leo. I hope that's helpful. Take care.